Welcome, Exiles, to the Day 1 update on the Inquisitor. So, to start things off with, I 100% recommend the Gull. It is disgusting the amount of power you can get, and I'm going to showcase that in this canyon map. This is about the highest tier I've gotten to so far, tier 7. I found to find Delirium Orb, I chucked it on there. This is Monster Life, some other random stuff, I don't know, I just alked it. Doesn't really matter. We just got ourselves our Uber Lab at level about 78. This is roughly what the passive tree looks like so far. I'll include the POB in the description. Let's go ahead and get into this map. I'm going to use the free domination craft. The moral of the story is we get buff effect and shrine duration from the Gull as well as from our passive tree, which I'm not sure what the hotkey is to go to the passive tree quickly, but anyways, we get duration from the tree here. We get a guaranteed additional shrine, and then we get shrine effect, as well as every time we click on a shrine, we get twice the amount of shrines. The cool thing about these passives is I believe the shrine effects and the shrine duration for sure affect the small shrines. The double shrine effect only affects the big ones, but still the Gull ends up basically giving you demigod levels of power very early on. It's quite disgusting. And let's go ahead and showcase this in this canyon map. I probably should try to juice it more than this, but we're just going to roll domination so I can show you the level of power you can get super early on from the Gull. This is probably going to be a best in slot as far as gear pieces go, just because of how good the Gull is with shrines and how good it makes your mapping. So let's go ahead and try to get this first shrine, and it's a movement speed shrine. These are actually just insane. It basically turns this character into a I don't know, it already feels like I'm playing like an aura stacker. I'm not even an aura stacker, but it already kind of feels like that a little bit with how much speed you get from this shrine. And the shrine's going to last close to 2 minutes, so it'll last pretty much the entire time we're clearing this map. And this was just the first of the shrine effects we got. There's small shrines that I can pick up here and there if I want to, which I would normally do in most mapping scenarios. But yeah, you can see this is starting to get a little silly. Moral of the story is you pick up a res shrine. If it's a small res shrine, it gives you 5 max res. If it's a big res shrine, it gives you all the way up to 90 max res. It gives you over 15 max res. The capture resistances. It just gets a little bit crazy with what the character can do, just getting carried by these shrine effects that last pretty much the whole map. As you can see, we still have about 40 seconds left on our speed shrine, which is what we picked up at the very beginning of this map. And it just kind of makes everything just silly strong in terms of how much it scales your character early on with this sort of stuff. It's the type of thing where you can take these shrine buffs and you can probably full juice maps, even though your character wouldn't normally be able to do the content. It can then get carried by how good the shrine effects are, how strong they make the characters. So that's just what I wanted to showcase here with this map. I mean, obviously our character isn't super high level. We're just getting to this tier of map now, and we still need to level gems and stuff like that to progress the strength of our character. But I just wanted to showcase this in this setting just to show you how strong the shrine buffs are and how much fun you can have if you get something like the Gull, you get the shrine passives. They're really just a good time. You're guaranteed to get 1 shrine per map, which means I don't know, every 3 maps or so you'll get a speed shrine where you just get to completely delete the map. And other maps you get things like the max res shrine, you get things like the life shrine, things like the you always deal crit shrine. There's just a lot of really nice quality of life power shrines that just feel so good when you're running through and clearing a map. So that's why I just wanted to showcase. Now, getting into the thick of it for the things I learned while starting out this character, you probably have noticed, hey, where did Crackling Lance go? So the moral of the story for that is right now Crackling Lance is leveling in my offhand along with Intensify. I initially put it on level 28 and it just felt bad. And the reason for that, I believe, is because Crackling Lance really doesn't feel good until you get a certain threshold of cast speed. And so I didn't really have the cast speed to make Crackling Lance feel good, so I've just been using Spark, and I've actually been enjoying it quite a lot. Spark feels really good. It has felt great for leveling. I basically was on a 4-link for up until a couple levels ago. I just bought an ambush charge 5-link for 2C. Really cheap, really high quality, just early game item. Definitely would recommend doing something like this. And definitely use Spark until, I think later on, I'm going to wait to test Crackling Lance until I've gotten a little bit more levels and a little bit more cast speed into the build, because I think it's pretty important to make that sort of skill feel good. And right now, Spark has just been feeling great from my experience using it. So going into the Spark links, if you're going to be using Spark temporarily, maybe not temporarily if it's just so much better than Crackling Lance, I don't know. I just like it so much. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I've never played Spark before. But Spark links are Spark, Pierce, Inspiration, and Increased Crit Strikes. This is your 4 link, and then if you want a 5th link, I go for Crit Damage. These links are basically optimized for A, crit feeling good, as well as B, keeping our mana cost low. That's another thing I want to talk about, which is, while I was leveling this build, I think around the 30 to level 40 range, I started to have some mana issues. And I want to go over what I did to fix the mana issues, to basically make it feel like I didn't really need a mana flask. So the main things we did is we ended up going for the Tireless Cluster. That's something I changed, which comes with reduced cost of skills, makes the mana cost cheaper. So that's a big thing we did. We also prioritized going to Mystic Bulwark for the mana regen per chance to block spell, which we have Glancing Blows, which means if we have good chance to block, which we do because of Tempest Shield and the block on tree and Glancing Blows, we get some good mana regen rate. We also went for the Mastery mana, or the Mana Mastery, which is reduced mana cost here. All these things contribute to making the skill cheaper, and therefore, if we have better mana regen rate from things like Mystic Bulwark, things like Alira, the mana cost of these skills start to not feel so bad. Eventually, maybe when I'm min-maxing a little bit more, I will try to get reduced cost or flat minus max crafted on prefixes on my rings. But for right now, I've just kind of bought some rares and a couple uniques to get the build functioning. Speaking of uniques, I thought were a good buy and worth the investment. Death's Rush gives you onslaught on kill, feels very good while mapping, makes your build feel nice and smooth. Definitely would recommend. Other things I'd recommend for my rares, I try to prioritize getting life and life regen along with movement speed for boots, or for your gloves, go for something like strength or some resistances. Obviously, playing an Inquisitor, if you have like a deficit of strength to int, your strength will not only be giving you flat life, but it will also be giving you crit chance. So for me, in order to kind of make up for the fact I have a lot more flat int on the tree, I ended up getting strength on some gear pieces, like my gloves and like my belt. Between these two items, I had over like 100% crit chance just from the strength alone, which feels extra good in helping to cap that crit, get the crit better. I think some other major points I should point out is cast speed is a lot better than it was previously. Definitely prioritize trying to get a ring and an amulet with both life and cast speed stats. Those are the main stats I would go for, and then try to fill out resistances as well. So I think that covers most of the rare gear. We have a shield here, which is just kind of a junky one with a +1 level that I'm going to swap out for something like Aegis, but right now Aegis is super expensive because it doesn't really drop until people are a certain level. And so there's just a few Aegises entering the economy now. The economy will start to get flooded with them. The price is going to tank. And I'm going to wait for it to be cheaper before I buy one. But Aegis will help round out our defenses. Another thing for Scepters, prioritize stats like Flat Lightning to spells, level to spell, cast speed, crit multi, crit chance for spells. Mana's okay, I guess. And then be able to craft something like spell damage or lightning damage. This is my Scepter. I bought it for a couple C. Good enough, and it's working right now for the early white to yellow maps. Another thing I want to point out is if you cap your resistances, getting this node and switching it for elemental damage leeches energy shield helps the build have better sustain. I want to say this because I myself, I think I jumped the gun on going for Righteous Fire. I went straight for Pious Path and then Righteous Fire, and it was just kind of sustain. Righteous Fire was basically canceling out all my sustain from Pious Path because I really need to get other things into the build, like a Ruby Flask with the gain on hit mod and the percent regen mod, like Tukohama's Divine Pantheon for extra regen. There's multiple layers of like regen we can get into the build that I just don't have yet because I was kind of basically rushing straight to Righteous Fire. You can sustain it sort of on Cruel Lab if you get both Vitality and Purity of Fire, but it's just barely over sustaining, so if you start taking damage, you're not really healing. As I've leveled up, I've gotten things like Ambush Charge now. I got things like the Gull giving me the basically higher life pool or max res, which helps a lot. I got better purity of fire now. I got better vitality now. Stuff like that helps a lot for getting the sustain right. So when you're looking at trying to balance that righteous fire, definitely look at getting the mana reservation nodes so you can fit in purity fire and vitality. And also for fitting in vitality, I ended up getting the vitality mana reservation efficiency node because it was just a little bit too tight on the mana, so I picked up this node. Later on, when we min-max the character more, I'll probably end up dropping this node, but for a temporary solution, it's worked pretty well to helping us get that sustain right. That and getting life regen on your gear helps get it way, way better. Initially, when I first tried to switch over from Cruel Lab, I had basically no gear at all, and so it was just a small net degen. Once I'd been able to start using Vitality and Purity of Fire, it was a small net regen, and then as you get better and better gear, it'll feel better, and eventually you'll be just sustaining Righteous Fire solely on your ES pool, as well as with the Aegis Aurora defenses, and it's going to feel real smooth, real clean. Sorry, my voice is starting to hurt, and I'm getting really tired. Hopefully this has made some sense for the update on this character. I guess real quick, because I just showcased you what it looks like on just absolute disgusting power levels with a domination shrine, let's go ahead and just do this bizarre map real quick. I'll go ahead and throw a transmute at it because I'm not rich. I don't want to throw my Alex at it because I only have a few. I want to save those for the yellow maps when I get them. So I'll go ahead and showcase this map real quick here on not a speed shrine or not a map filled with 4 domination shrines, which is going to basically guarantee you're getting a speed shrine type of thing. And this is kind of just what it looks like, what it plays. So far in the early maps, it's pretty chill. It's pretty relaxing. I've been enjoying Spark. You probably can do other lightning spells. Spark isn't necessarily mandatory by any sense of the word, but it works out and it's been doing well for me. Things like when we picked up defense shrines, we're up to like 17, 18k, 20k if we have Molten Shell. The defense is getting there for armor. It's going to get a lot better as we level up Determination, as we get Aegis Aurora, as we get things with flat armor. And my game crashed. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Okay, I'm getting a small patch. I'm going to cut to when I'm back in the map. Alright, so we're back to the map. Just booted up PoE. I don't know, there was some update. I don't know why that crashed the game or what crashed the game, but we made it back here. I'm just going to bum rush wherever the boss is, try to find it real quick. Do the boss real quick, give you a showcase of where the character's at. I think these gem levels are level 18, so we still have a decent amount of upgrades to go in terms of just leveling up our gems, then getting quality on them. All that sort of stuff will feel really good. I think the boss would just be in this corner, probably. Yeah, the corner. Okay, we'll do that real quick. So, and for boss fights, we do Sigil of Power, Frost Shield, and we curse with Assassin's Mark. And that's pretty much it. It still is really... I have no issues in terms of single target with bosses at this level. Just like high tier whites, low tier yellows. We're just cleaning through stuff. I'm sure as we level up, we get better damage, we should be able to clean through some high yellows and into reds. I don't think we're going to have any problem there. But of course, tomorrow will be the second update video. And I'll let you guys know. I'll say, hey, I got the red maps, it's starting to slow down, or hey, I got the red maps, we're cleaning red maps, it's easy peasy, build is looking good, stuff like that. Right now, I'm pretty hopeful for it to still be a good time, but I just wanted to share with you guys how fun it is to play with the Gull. Definitely recommend it wholeheartedly along with the passives. It feels quite strong, and I know in the plan for this build, I plan to use a Crown of the Inward Eye, but I don't even know if I'm going to do that now with how much fun the goal is with just having a shrine every single map and basically having a 30% chance you're going to hit a speed shrine and you unlock basically God mode is what it feels like. It's crazy powerful. So, thank you all for watching. Have an excellent rest of your day. Out, Exiles.